Hello everyone. So today we are going to discuss Jupiter retrograde in the sign of Taurus. So this is happening from 9th of October to 4th of February 2025. So this is the time for introspection. So it's a great time for self-reflection. So you might find yourself reevaluating your beliefs and your goals and all of that. And also, if there are some unfinished work, then you would be going back to the work and you'll be trying to finish it. So, which is actually a good thing. And Jupiter retrograde is also, it gives you opportunity for growth. So this period, it might look like a time of setback, but it actually is an opportunity to refine your path and make a wiser choice and then move forward in your life. So you can actually stay open to change, be more adaptable. So if there is any shift in your life, you be open minded to accept it. So that is one of the ways you can actually embrace this retrograde, and of course, seek guidance. If there are people who can guide you, this retrograde would actually work out for your better benefit. This Jupiter retrograde is actually giving us that space to slow down and reflect and realign with our true selves. Now we will see how Jupiter retrograde is going to be for each ascendant. In case if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more astrology insights. For Aries ascendants, Jupiter is retrograde in your second house. So second house is a house of income, money, financial matters, even also food. Like that's mouth and things, what you eat and all of that. So when Jupiter is going retrograde here, you have to be very cautious of your financial matters. So this is a period where you can actually go through financial crunch. There can be unexpected expenses, and also it is aspecting your sixth house, eighth house, and the 10th house. So when it comes to work related matters, you have to be very cautious when you are speaking to your colleague, your boss, because Jupiter is aspecting your 10th house, and it is retrograde, it is in retrograde motion. So there can be chances that you'll feel a little lazy, and you have to take care of your health, and you have to be mindful of what you are eating. And any teeth related issues can crop up, so you have to make sure that you visit a dentist. And even at home also, because second house is also the house, it represent your family members. You have to be careful when you are talking to them, so there can be rift with family members. So be very careful with conversation, what you communicate with them. So this is about Aries. For Taurus ascendants, Jupiter is transiting, or Jupiter is retrograde in the first house. So the first house is you, it's self. So this retrograde period, it can be a little bit challenging in terms of, you might completely neglect yourself. You may neglect what you want. You may neglect, your health. So you have to take care of yourself, and that is more important during this particular transit. And also, when you're dealing with partnership, or you if you're getting into any sort of business, please put a little bit hold on your any new ventures in terms of business, because this period would not be very good period to start a business, because Jupiter is retrograde and it is aspecting the seventh house, because seventh house is actually the house of partnership, marriage. And also when you are dealing with your spouse, you're talking to your spouse, you will have to be a little careful. You have to be a little bit giving towards your spouse, and even your partners. And this is also a period where you have to actually take care of your financial matters, especially when it comes to business, because if you're investing in business without thinking, so you can have some sort of loss there. And because Jupiter is retrograde in your first house, you might you know have that time crunch. You might not have enough time to spend it with your partner. So do find some time, take some time to spend or quality time with your partner, so that you can have a lack of peace, a peaceful life. And also follow a healthy routine, because this retrograde can actually push you to follow unhealthy routines, and there can be lack of peace in your life. So if you just rectify these issues, this retrograde should go smoothly for you. Just take care of yourself, give more time to yourself. That's more important. For Mercury ascendants, Jupiter is retrograde in the 12th house. And from the 12th house, Jupiter is aspecting the 4th house, 6th house, and the 8th house. So, Jupiter retrograde in the 12th house can make you have lack of confidence. So, in case if you are planning to take any decisions, always think about it, and then take decisions slowly. Don't be in a hurry to make any decisions. And even in when it comes to your career, when it comes to your relationship, you have to make these kind of decisions very carefully. In partnership, so if you're doing any sort of partnership business, if you're dealing with any paper signing and all of that, always read through, make your plans, and then you need to go ahead with it. And in case if you have any business trips, always plan way in advance as to what you're going to be doing. So this should be good for you. And this is a retrograde. This retrograde is very good for meditation. It will give you clarity, and always have a calculative approach. Like I said, don't be in a hurry. So this is it for Mercury ascendants. For Cancer ascendants, Jupiter is retrograde in the 11th house. So 11th house is a house of gain, friends, elder sibling. And now Jupiter is also aspecting the 3rd house, the 5th house, and the 7th house. It's a lord of your 8th house and the it's a lord of your 6th house and the 9th house. Now, if you're planning to make any sort of investments, you have to be really careful with the sort of investment or things that you're getting into. You need to study properly before you make any sort of investment. And also, when you are dealing with your friends, you have to be a bit careful. Even it same goes with the elder sibling. And again, this is a period where you would not listen to the advice or views of other people, but it is suggested that you do listen to your, elders, or reach out for help in case if you do need help, because this is a period where you can actually pull yourself back from people, and you might not be willing to listen to other people's views. So in case if you if you sort of get any sort of rejection from work, always try to improvise on your skill rather than getting disheartened, because this is a period where you can actually face some rejection. Now, short journeys can definitely, if you're planning to take some short journeys, that can definitely benefit you. In workplace, again, when you're dealing with your, workplace people, colleagues, you have to be a little careful. In case you're planning for, long journeys, again, that can be done with a little bit of planning. But at the same time, it's a very good period for visiting temples. Any religious visit would be good for you. For Leo ascendants, Jupiter is transiting the 10th house. Now, from the 10th house, Jupiter is looking into the 2nd house, the 4th house, as well as the 6th house. So, the 10th bhava is the house of work. So, here during this period, the retrograde period, you might just take unwanted responsibility at workplace. And in case if you are being given any tough task, always have a caring approach towards any work that is being given to you. And if you can be a little careful, at your work during this period, things will go very smoothly for you. But if you're also planning to make any sort of investment, make sure that you do a thorough research about the matter before you do the investment. Because eventually, otherwise, what happens is you might end up losing the money. And financial matters also, because Jupiter is definitely looking at the second house. And there, you have Sun as well as Ketu also transiting. So you have to be very careful with the expenses that you're making, because you might already be having a lot of expenses. So Jupiter, once it's out of retrograde, it is definitely going to protect your second house. But for till February 4th, you might have high expenses. For Virgo ascendant, Jupiter is a retrograde in the ninth house, and from the ninth house, it is aspecting your first house, the third house, and also the fifth house. Now, since Jupiter is retrograde in the ninth house, it's a period where you might think of going for pilgrimage or visiting any temples, any religious place for that matter. And even if you can get into meditations and yoga, it's going to work really good for you. And as it is, I can see in the first house, Ketu is transiting with Jupiter being retrograde in the ninth house. It can give you a lot of stress and tension during this period until March 4th, after which definitely Jupiter with its aspect on the first house is definitely going to bless you. And it is definitely going to protect you, your mind, and all of that. But then this is a period from 9th of October till 4th of February is a period where you have to give a lot of attention to yourself, your mental well-being. So even if you are planning to take up higher education, there can be a little bit of obstacles during this time. So like, for example, if you want to do your PhD or masters, and if you want to go abroad and do it, you might find a little bit of obstacle coming your way, in maybe like in terms of application or getting through with it. So there is slight obstacles, but that's not going to stop you completely. It can give you a little bit of struggle, but you are eventually going to overcome that and achieve what you want. So for a Libra ascendant, Jupiter is retrograde in the 8th house. Now this is a time period for healing. So in case if you were facing any sort of health issue, this is a period that where you can focus on healing yourself, taking some therapy and all of that. And also it's a very good period for meditation, because that would bring in so much of peace and serenity in you. Now, since Jupiter is aspecting the first house, third house, and the fifth house. Now, any kind of, if you're planning to take any sort of short journeys, you have to, plan it out well. You should know as to why you're taking the, journey. Otherwise, it can, it might not be very fruitful, especially if it is in terms of business. So, and also if you're someone who is into research, then this is a very good period for doing the research. You would do great in, going deeper into the matters and finding out things. It will appear to you very easily. So, which is very good. And when you are traveling, especially if you're driving vehicles and all of that, you have to be a bit careful. And also in terms of investments, you need to be very cautious. Especially, it is advised not to do any sort of investment during this Jupiter retrograde. For a Scorpio ascendant, Jupiter retrograde is taking place in the 7th house. Yes, the 7th house is a house of partnership, marriage. So there can be lack of understanding between the partners. Also, it could be your marriage partner, or it could be your business partner. So there will be miscommunications which can happen during this period. So, in case if you're planning to sign or start any businesses, it would be wise if you can start after 4th of February when Jupiter goes direct. Same goes with the marriage. It would be again good if if your marriage is happening after Jupiter is going direct. Jupiter as a planet, it also shows finance. So financial, any sort of financial investment into business is not advised at this point of time. So any decision or any investment that you want to make into the business can be done after 4th of February, which would be better. For a Sagittarius ascendants, the Jupiter retrograde is happening in the 6th house. Now, from the 6th house, Jupiter is aspecting your 10th house, the 12th house, and the second house. Now, this is a period where you find it very difficult to follow the daily routine. So, there can be sudden changes in plan, and you might also even end up taking wrong financial decisions. So, you have to be very calculative in any sort of financial decisions that you take. And also, since it's sixth house is related to work, and again it is aspecting the 10th house, you have to avoid any sort of rift or conflict with your colleague, because there are chances any kind of conflict or rift can come up with your colleagues at workplace. And also at this point of time, you might not be very committed to work. You might feel a little lazy or laid back. So you have to consciously avoid being lazy and try to consciously make sure that you follow the routine, since you know that this is a kind of transit that's happening in your in your chart. And also with the Jupiter aspect on the second house, you might be very you know you might want to take in junk food or eat a lot of sweet. So do take care of your health, because sixth house retrograde transit is not considered you know that well. This is also a period where you have to be very careful about your health, and don't neglect your health. For Capricorn ascendants, Jupiter retrograde is happening in the fifth house. So fifth house is a house of, it denotes children, your love, partnership, love affairs, basically, and your education as well. So here, since Jupiter is on a retrograde motion, you have to be very careful with your education matters. Make sure that you focus on your education. Do not become lazy, because this is a period where you can actually feel a little pulled back. When it comes to education, and also avoid any sort of a rift with your partner. So this is not a marriage partner. This is mostly your love relationship. So there can be conflict between the partners. And also Jupiter from here. So from the fifth house, it is aspecting your ninth house, the 11th house, and the first house. So you might want to do some sort of healing for you in term, in case if you're going through any health issues. This is a time that you would start working on yourself, and any sort of investment that you're making. Think about it properly and know where you are investing, so make wise decisions when you're making investments. For Aquarius ascendant, Jupiter retrograde is happening in the fourth house, which is all related to your home, property, vehicle, and all of that. So Jupiter is aspecting the eighth house, the 10th house, and the 12th house. So here, Jupiter transit or Jupiter retrograde can actually put a lot of pressure on your job. So there would be so much that you have to do in terms of when it comes to your work. So career friend, you are being expected to perform a lot. A lot of hard work is required. And then it's also aspecting the 12th house, of course, definitely, travel, especially it looks like foreign travel is on your cards, but it also depends on what kind of Mahadasha that you're going on. So, based on that, definitely, if you're planning to go abroad, that would definitely happen. And in case if you're planning to buy property or a vehicle, there would be sort of a delay here because your Jupiter is retrograde in fourth house, so that would delay things. But definitely, you can end up buying properties and vehicles. Once it goes direct, and there are a lot of chances that you might do some renovation in your house, and you might, you know, end up buying properties and vehicles. So that is definitely the transit is going to give you that. But like I said, it all depends on what your Mahadasha is also promising. From your transit, it is definitely very hopeful of the fact that you would be, making a lot of investment in terms of real estate. And also, of course, in the home front, you might be facing a lot of challenge in terms of relationship. That is in terms of family and friend as well. So, yeah, so that's it about the Aquarius ascendants. For Pisces ascendants, Jupiter is transiting the third house, and the third house is a house of communication. So it's retrograde there, and it's a house of younger siblings, a medium, and again it is aspecting your seventh house, ninth house, and 11th house. So you have to be, having a very healthy communication with your family members as well as your friends to, enjoy that harmonious relationship. And also don't avoid any health issues because you might tend to ignore health issues, any sort of health issues with this sort of retrograde, which is happening in your third house. And again, before taking any major steps in career or relationship, please take a couple of suggestions. Don't be in a hurry to do things. It's always advised to do take suggestions even if you don't follow it. Just take your time, think about it, and then make your decisions wisely.